All right. Well, thank you, Adrian. And today we're going to talk about Epicor Cash Collect. It's a better way to get paid faster, and we're going to kind of outline why we developed Epicor Cash Collect, talk a little bit about our relationship with Epicor, and then we're going to show you what you can do with it and all the benefits. So pretty excited. We just got back from the Epicor Insights customer show last week and had just an absolutely overwhelming interest in the product, and it's come a long way. So if you weren't able to make the Insights show, you're getting a longer version of what we showed when we were out there last week. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and dig in. What we're going to cover today is we're going to talk a little bit about some of the common AR problems facing Epicor customers, customers in general, key benefits. We're going to talk about our new version of the software, give you a little overview of that. Spend some time actually looking at the software, give you a little overview. We're going to talk about some profiles and success for some customers that we have that are using the product. Talk a little bit about the investment you'd be looking to make. And then wrap it up with some additional resources and a Q&A. So to start out with, I firmly believe that we're in an accounts receivable crisis right now as an industry. And I want to paint this picture for you. I mean, there are so few of us that are focused on managing our accounts receivable. You know, we go out, we buy CRM software to manage sales, we buy new ERP software like Epicor to streamline and optimize our supply chains. But we're still doing a lot of things really backward when it comes to accounts receivable and financial supply chain management. So my question to you, are you using manual processes? Do you have a disconnected accounts receivable system? And I'm betting that almost every one of you on the call today are using an aging report. You've got your variety pack of highlighters, and you're marking that aging report up so you know who you called and what you did. And you may, if you're really sophisticated, have a bunch of spreadsheets that you're using to kind of prioritize what you're doing and maybe make notes. You know, we're implementing some pretty big systems here with Epicor. We're implementing, you know, pretty big systems with CRM. And then this is what we have for accounts receivable management. It's actually quite pathetic. Now let's think about this for a minute. Accounts receivable is typically the largest or second largest asset for most businesses. We know this. I mean, even if you're a manufacturer, maybe your largest asset is your capital equipment. If you're a service-driven organization, it might be your employees. But I guarantee you that your AR on your books is either number one or number two as far as your largest assets go. And your ability to convert that AR to cash faster will have a dramatic increase on your cash flow and your access to working capital. Share some statistics with you. We all know this intrinsically. The longer an invoice goes unpaid, the less likely that it will ever be paid. So let's take a look at this. If we have an invoice that gets to 3 months old, 26% are uncollectible or uncollectible in full. If that invoice ages to 6 months, 70% of them are uncollectible. It means we're only going to collect on 30% of those older invoices. And what if it gets to a year old? We'll be lucky to collect 10%. So we know this, right? We send out an invoice. We need to be very proactive up front, make sure there's no issues, no reasons why they're not going to pay us. And net, quite honestly, net 30 means net 30 or net 15, whatever your terms are. Doesn't mean pay us when you feel like it. So this is why we developed Epicor Cash Collect, is to help put a process around this. Day sales outstanding basically is it's an accounting term. It's a measure of how fast we're getting paid. Industry average, I think this according to the Credit Research Foundation or National Association of Credit Managers, one of those two sources. But industry average DSO is at 61 days. And some of you are probably thinking, yeah, that's not too bad. But average credit terms are 28 days. So we're telling our customers, you have 28 days to pay us, and they're saying, oh, okay, that's nice. We'll pay you in 61 on average. It just does not jive. So What does Epicor Cash Collect do? Epicor Cash Collect can help you reduce your DSO and get paid 10 to 20% faster. If you are like the industry average and your DSO is at 61 days, that means you're going to get paid 9 days faster on average. We're going to talk later about some customers we work with that have had absolutely phenomenal results to blow these away. Write-offs. We all have them. You extend credit terms. There's going to be a handful of accounts that don't pay you, and you eventually write it off as bad debt. On average, businesses are writing off about 4% of their AR annually. This will vary by industry. We've seen it as low as, next to nothing, 0, 1%. We've seen it as high as 9% in certain industries. 4% doesn't sound so bad, right? Which is a pretty low number. Let's put that in perspective. If you're doing $10 million in credit sales annually, you're writing off $400,000 every single year. Take a look at that a little bit different. What if you could get just a 10% improvement? Reduce your bad debt by just 10%. That's $40,000 you're saving every year. Depending on your margins, this could be really, really significant. We work with a lot of distributors, for example, that have very low margins. To make up $40,000 in profit back to your bottom line could require $500,000 worth of sales, if not $1 million worth of sales. That's a lot more work. So what are some of the challenges that are facing credit collections and businesses today? Too little collection activity, right? We have a part-time AR clerk. They don't like to do credit collections. They don't know how to do it effectively, so they just don't do it. It's erratic. The only time that we're calling are when things get to that, 90-day bucket or over 120-day bucket, or when we're having cash flow problems, and it's very, very serious. So it's very erratic. We don't have a process. We don't have a system in place. High adjustment volumes, inconsistent credit assessments. We have no idea who to extend credit to or why or how much. We have very fragmented information. We've got some data in Epicor. We've got some data in our CRM system. We've got email communications in our Outlook or our Exchange. We have information written down on these aging reports. We've got information in spreadsheets. Everything's very fragmented and kind of disparate. We have no reporting to tell us what's happening or where we're effective or where we're ineffective. And quite honestly, we're still in a pretty difficult economy here. I mean, we're coming out of it, but we know cash is king, and the better we can manage our cash, the healthier we're going to be, the more credit we're going to be able to access through our financial institutions. And this is what Epicor Cash Collect is all about. We're going to balance your collector work queues. We're going to centralize information, and we're going to give you consistent activities built on best-in-class alerts and workflow. So let's talk about some of the benefits here. Epicor Cash Collect, I like to draw this analogy. It's kind of like putting your AR on autopilot to an extent. It's accounts receivable credit collections management. It's designed to help companies that sell to other companies on credit terms, right? So B2C, not necessarily B2B, not necessarily B2B or B2C, on credit terms to get paid faster by organizing their activities, automating the communications through built-in rules based on best practices, okay? So when I think of autopilot, I always think of one of my favorite movies, Airplane, but this is a lot different and a lot better. So what do we do with Epicor Cash Collect? We tell you who do you need to call first, right? So we don't have to print the aging report out, scan through our notes, and say, all right, well, last time I finished my calls at the letter M, now I'm going to work my way down from N through Z. Why am I calling them? We're going to organize the information so you know why you're calling. We're going to give you all the information around the invoice. Where is it? What are the invoice details? Who am I calling? Who are my contacts at this company? When was the invoice due? Is this a good account, or is this historically a late pay account? We're going to give you that information as well. What's the history with the account? How many times have they had a dispute or a broken promise to pay? Is there a dispute? Is there something wrong with the invoice? If there is it my fault or is it the customer's fault? How do I escalate this issue to somebody else in the organization where they have information or authority to be able to resolve it, along with all the history and all of my notes and everything that's going on with this issue? When can I expect to get paid? And what do I do next? These are the things we're going to do for you. I want to spend a little time on this slide. So if you're using what's called a traditional credit collections process, right, your highlighters, aging reports, spreadsheets, this is from PayStream Advisors. You're spending about 20% of your time actually soliciting your customers for payment because you're spending a lot of time preparing for that call, prioritizing what you're going to do, trying to remediate, disputes, and you're spending a lot of time trying to analyze. And I'm going to keep the current color scheme. Thank you, Windows. If we automate this with a credit collections management system, we're going to spend 62% of our time soliciting customers for payment. That's 3 times the improvement. And a lot of you on the call today, you're manufacturers, you're distributors, you've implemented lean manufacturing or lean techniques within your business. We know about efficiencies. If we could get this kind of efficiency and be able to make 3 times as many calls to our customers, why wouldn't we want to do that? It just makes sense. So what do? We are going to focus on key accounts. Fundamental challenges will vary by company, but can be roughly defined by Pareto's law, right? 80% of our revenue comes from 20% of our customers. So why wouldn't we want to put 80% of our effort on those 20% of the customers and have a system that would manage the other 80% of our customers or 20% of our revenue? With Epicor Cash Collect, you're going to be able to focus on them while still being able to contact every late customer through each phase of the collections process. It's going to allow adequate time to focus on the strategic accounts, the risky accounts that require more effort and can have the greatest negative or positive impact on your financials. So what can we expect to get out of Epicor Cash Collect? It's a credit collections management system. By using a system just to automate the collections piece alone, companies are getting a 10 to 20% reduction in their DSO, 25% reduction in their past due receivables across the board, and a 15 to 25% reduction in their bad debt reserves or write-offs. Okay, and later on we're going to show you what that really looks like. So a little overview on Epicor Cash Collect version 10. There's several components of the software. We have automated email. So if I want to send out reminders to customers that they have invoices that are coming due and there's a balance due in the next 3 days, the system could do that. I don't have to touch it. What do I want to do? The minute that the customer's past due, I can have the system send out a past due notice. We have mail merge templates. We have a prioritized call list. There's a rules engine kind of underlying the software that'll tell me these are the customers that you need to make a first collection call to because they're within a certain number of days past due, right? Maybe it's 3 to 5 days past due. What do I do when that invoice ages to 10 or 15 days? I'm going to make a second call or send a follow-up email. So we can build a work queue however you really need it to be built, so that you're not guessing and trying to spend all this time prioritizing what you're going to do. Centralized information, we're pulling the data in from Epicor. We're giving you a complete picture of the customer account. We're giving the ability to manage disputes, forecast cash, enable your customers to make online payments via ACH or a credit card. And then we're giving you the business intelligence around it so you can identify what's working and what's not. Okay. From an industry perspective, I know a lot of you on the call today are manufacturers, but this software we've implemented in a number of different industries. Every industry has some nuances to it, and there are some specific features that are kind of geared for each of these industries. But as a whole, if we're extending credit terms, we need to manage accounts receivable. So let's talk a little bit about the new version. It's our 2014 version for Epicor 10. I realize a lot of you on the call today are using maybe Epicor 9 or Vantage or maybe some of the other Epicor products, Epicor Enterprise or Eclipse or P21. The new version will integrate to any of those, but it is a departure from where we came from. Before, what we had a cloud-based application that was web deployed to the client. Without getting too technical, what that basically means is it looked like a desktop application that simply launched from a browser. What we've done with the new version is completely rewritten it. It's 100% browser deployed. Okay? It's a modern platform. It's built for future success. It's all HTML5. And we've enabled a lot of new features, including online bill pay, customer portal links from emails, streamline action lists, and a lot more information in the grids with new inquiries. From a deployment standpoint, we are a big fan of allowing you to buy and deploy in a method that makes sense for you. You can choose to go with a hosted client. With the hosted client, we host it on Microsoft Azure. We're a Microsoft managed account. You have options there. You can go with kind of the true SaaS, software as a service model with multi-tenant. You log in, your data is stored with other customers' data, but you only see your information. Or you can go with a dedicated hosted database there. We do also support a premise client where if you want to install the application on an IIS server, a web server within your domain, you can choose to do that. Most customers don't do that. We do have some specific requirements or situations where that might be an option. Specifically if you're in medical and you have compliance requirements. But for the most part, you're probably better off going with the hosted model on the client. And the only thing we really don't support today, we are moving toward that as another option, would be a hosted client with a premise database. Because we'd have to work out a way for the client on the cloud to be able to connect into the database within your domain. Okay. Data synchronization. What we do is there's a basic sync that is included. It is standard integrated to Epicor. And what we're doing is pulling out customer accounts, contacts, invoices, payments, payment applications, that type of data on a schedule. So we set up the schedule. It can sync once a day. It can sync every hour, however frequently you want to schedule that to occur. That's going to move the data from the Epicor ERP database into Epicor Cash Collect. What's new is we have a new advanced sync module where if we have data in other databases, maybe it's a proprietary database, maybe it's a time and billing system, maybe we have a situation where we're using Epicor at one of our facilities, but we have other ERP systems at different sister companies. We can sync to multiple data sources and centralize our credit and collections. Online bill pay, and I'm going to show you this today. We have the ability to send your customers an email with a special hyperlink. When they click it, it's going to log them into a customer portal where they can view their invoices, download PDF copies of their invoices, and then make a payment via credit card or ACH. They can also make notes on the invoices, which will display back in Cash Collect, so the assigned credit user will have some communication back from the customer. Okay. From a product roadmap standpoint, just want to give you a preview of what's in the works right now. Some of this actually is in development. Some of it we're planning for later this year. We're looking for some more advanced SQL alerts and notifications, being able to supporting documents. So if I'm sending an invoice to a customer and they need a timesheet to go along with it to show that we did provide that service, or maybe they need a bill of lading or proof of delivery. We're looking at ways to be able to pull all that supporting documentation together and send it along with the invoice. We're looking at adding credit scoring and credit application management for new customers. Multilingual is something that we'll be launching. That'll probably be released in phases. We're looking at the fall for that. Right now we're targeting Spanish, Portuguese. We have a partner that's looking to work with us potentially for Arabic and Hebrew. And so we'll be supporting right to left. There are a number of other languages we're looking to support as well. We do have user-defined fields within the software. We're looking to expand those considerably, as well as we do have some functionality for national accounts. We're looking to enhance that, make that even easier to use. Okay, so let us switch over, and we are going to do a little demo. Okay, I'm just going to go over to my dashboard here. So again, browser deployed, it doesn't matter if I'm in Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer. It doesn't matter if I'm on a laptop, a desktop, a tablet. If I have internet connection, I can get to the application. Okay. So when I log in, the first thing you're going to see is I've got a user here. I've got myself, Art Vandelay. I'm set up as a credit manager, which means that I have people that report to me. So I can drill in on my direct reports. I can look at Donna Dreyer, for example, and find out what is Donna doing. What does her dashboard look like? We support different hierarchies of users. We support team concepts where you can have 2 or 3 people working together. We support inquiry users, so maybe you have a owner, a president, a CFO, or a controller that they're not necessarily doing credit collections, but they want to find out what's going on. They can log in. It's a discounted user license, and they can inquire on the information. And then from here, I can get a picture of really my accounts receivable portfolio, right? What's my aging? Where's my DSO at? Am I trending up or trending down over the last 6 months? You know, based on different sizes of invoices, how long is it taking my customers to pay me? You know, this is a nice visual. Maybe I want to put some rules around these invoices that are $20,000 to $25,000. Call them more frequently, call them earlier in the process. Try to get that number down. I can see a cash summary. I'll show you that here in a minute. You know, what did I receive or expect to receive, total amount due, dispute amount, last week versus this week. I can go back further in the past or further in the future if I want to do so. Okay. At the bottom, I get a summary of my activities. I can find out what's happened. How many open issues am I managing? Within those issues, what are the activities that I'm performing? Am I making phone calls, sending emails, receiving emails, making notes, managing disputes, logging expected payments, or tracking broken promises? And again, I'm getting these analytics down to the collector level or across the portfolio. And then over on the right, I've got a top 10 list, who has my money. I can filter this down. Maybe I want to look at anybody that has, you know, the largest amounts over 60 days. This is inclusive of over 90 and over 120. And I can drill in from there on the customers. Okay. So that's kind of a high level on the dashboard. Typically, when I'm a collector, I'm going to log in. I'm going to take a look at the dashboard, see how I'm doing. But where I'm going to really start is in my actions list. All right, we talked about the rules. We talked about the workflow. I'm going to come over here. The sync is already run on a schedule. The system is going to re-age my customers, and then I'm going to run the rules engine to tell me what do I need to do. Okay, and I'm going to drill in on Adam Lynch, who's another person in the organization that reports to me. And I can see that Adam has this list of things he has to do, and you can set priorities on these or re-sequence them. So maybe I want to make these 3rd collection calls first, then the 2nd calls, and then go ahead and send certified email, send reminders, and then we have new customers that he has to send welcome emails to. So let me go ahead and drill in on, I've got 2 of these collection calls. So let me take a look at that and see what do I need to do here. Okay, kind of move that over to the side. So I've got West Supply and I've got Drake Services. And both of these customers have invoices that are 15 days past due. They require me to do something. Okay. Let's take the first one here. I'll go ahead and work on West Supply. And the reason I'm clicking in on the account is I probably want to review the account before I make the phone call. At the very top, we're going to get a statement of the account. This is information we're pulling over from Epicor. open invoices. We're going to see credit memos, finance charges, all that financial information is going to be displayed here. If I scroll down, I could see history of the communication I've had with this customer. And we have a bunch of different icons to identify what happened on that communication. You know, did I make a phone call? Was it successful? Was it unsuccessful? Did I receive an email back from the customer on that communication? Was it time sensitive or did it have a due date? If it did, is it past due or did I complete it? Is there an open dispute, which would be the question mark icon on that communication? The tag icon says, does this relate to a specific invoice or was it just a general communication that I had with the customer? Was there a expected payment that I logged against that? Did I send an email and was there an attachment? Okay. So what I may want to do is look at maybe my last one here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this issue and find out what did I talk to them about the last time. This is a lot faster. The go-to-meeting slows this up slightly. So here I can see on 4/25, we made a phone call to Allison Powell. She said they will, if we resend the invoices, they would pay us $1,000 by Friday. Okay. This is the invoice that I talked to them about, and it looks like there was a dispute on this for a reason code. Okay. Now, if I want to find out what that dispute reason was, I click on the invoice. It's going to pull up the screen, and it's going to say, all right, well, the reason was an SSP, which is a short shipment. You can define different reasons for disputes, use this for analysis and reporting. Okay. Put in the amount that was in dispute, the dispute date, etc. Okay. So this is still an open issue. So let's go ahead and create a new communication because this is still on my activity list. Now I'll go to meeting. All right, go to meetings finally catching up here. There we go. So what am I going to do here? I'm gonna make another phone call. Okay. I have a choice here. I can look at invoices that are tagged to this issue. I can look at maybe all invoices. Maybe I want to see everything that's out there. And then from here, the other thing that I might want to do before I make this phone call is I might want to click on this little customer info tab. And this is going to drop down and show me all kinds of information about this customer right here, front and center. So I don't have to go hunt and peck through multiple systems. You know, when were they established? What's their currency? We are multi-currency. We're multi-company. We're multi-ERP. What's their credit class that drives the rules? What's their cost to credit? How much are they costing us above and beyond agreed upon credit terms? You know, who's the sales rep? Are they in credit hold? Their highest balance and date? These are defined fields that we want to map in. What's the history on this customer? Their specific average days to pay. How many days have been since we last talked to them? How many times have they had a broken promise or had a dispute? What's their aging? Who are their contacts? And we can bring these in from Epicor, or we can maintain them within our system. Transactions, recent payments, invoices. Again, everything right here with a click of a mouse. And now I'm going to go ahead and make a phone call. So I'm going to view the contacts here, pick somebody that I want to talk to. And maybe I'm going to talk to Gianna this time because Allison obviously didn't do much for us. Add her to the notes. We're going to make that call. We're going to log the results of that phone call. Maybe we have the same conversation, need invoices, and promise to pay. So from here, I can do a lot of different things. I can say that I talked to her about maybe just this specific invoice, so I'm going to tag it. I'm now going to go ahead and create some attachments to create an email to the customer. Let that catch up to us. I'm going to attach that tagged invoice. If we have PDF copies of them, we do integrate with the Advanced Print Management module. So if you have PDF copies of invoices, we're able to bring them into the system, automatically send them out, or attach them manually. And maybe I want to send them a past due notice. We have some templates. You can go ahead and create a mail merge document kind of on the fly here. Okay. Go ahead and let that generate. Now let's go ahead and create our email. And go ahead and select who we want to send this to. Go ahead and select Gianna. And I can choose to use a template. These are templates we use for automated email. These are also templates that are available to me. So I don't have to type the same thing all the time. Some of these I've set up as call scripts. So if I want to have a call script, I can set it up, attach it to a rule. The system will tell me to make a call, and then I can use the appropriate call script. But in this case, maybe I want to do the past due email template. Send this out to the customer. So I don't have to worry about typing this over and over again. I can set up best practice templates to use and reuse over and over again. Okay. And I'm going to end up running out of time, so I'm going to kind of shorten this up a little bit. But when I save this, this is going to send out. The last thing that I might want to do here on this communication is the log an expected payment. You know, how much did she say she was going to pay? Maybe this time it's $2,000. When do we expect to get paid? Maybe it's by the first of the month. Did they promise? If this date comes and goes, we don't have a payment of $2,000 from this customer, the system will mark it as a broken promises, put in the actual amount paid and the actual pay date. And if they broke the promise, it can create another action over here, which would be broken promises, and then that will trigger me to follow up on those. Okay. Again, in the essence of time, I'm not going to show you. When I send this out, the email goes to the customer. They can reply back. We retrieve the emails back into the system. This email template does also include the online bill pay link. If they click it, it logs them into a secured portal. They select invoices they want to pay via credit card or ACH. That comes into the system. And then they can kind of move on and work on the next actions in their list. Okay. So that's a real high level just of the communications. There's a lot more to the system, lots of different inquiries and reports that are available. Let's go ahead and save that, and then we'll return back over to our presentation. There we go. All right, so let's focus just the last part of this on some profiles and success. One of our customers, they're a company called Kalmbach Feeds, and they said it's a much better system than the $1 million system they used before in the areas that it performs the same tasks. This is a customer that had some pretty amazing results. The company's systems maintenance services. 600 employees, 90 global service centers, 32 years in business, 3,100 customers. Their customers are big. Their customers represent 60% of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And this is what they were facing. They had 4 collectors spread across 3 states, decentralized, lots of spreadsheets, no management reports. At the time, managing 2,000 customers, 3,000 invoices, and they wasted a lot of time. The end result was that they had DSO of 67, okay, and that was on average terms of net 30. What were they able to accomplish? 67, we just said it. That was what they started with their DSO. They set a target with the software. They wanted to get that DSO down to 55. 1 year after using the software, they got it down to 49. That's pretty significant. But if you exclude just 2 of their customers, 2 of those 3,000 customers, their DSO is actually at 40. What is that? That is a 40% reduction in days sales outstanding. That means their cash was in their bank, not sitting on an AR balance sheet, almost 1 month faster. And They were able to go and collect money from previous years and actually collected more money in 2012 than they invoiced. Absolutely amazing. Let's talk about the investment. Everybody asks it, so I'm going to talk about it. Epicor Cash Collect, very, very inexpensive solution. You're looking at $2,500 for a full credit user, somebody that's managing a portfolio of accounts. The inquiry users are $500 each. That's the purchase. You have your 20% made support contract on that as well. Subscriptions are also available if you want to go with a subscription. It's an annual commitment, $150 per month per credit user, $25 per month per inquiry user. If you want a quote or more information, contact your Epicor partner or your Epicor account manager. They'll be able to get you some more information. Or you can also get some information at the epicor.com/cloud/cash-collect website. Professional services, this is the next question we always get after the investment is, what does it take to implement? Training and consulting services, we provide that through Epicor. They actually subcontract that to us. Below are just some general guidelines. With the services, we actually provide the email and phone support with the subscription. And if you have an active maintenance support plan, it's unlimited. We don't believe in doing anything different. So you get gold support with us, call as often as you want, and we'll take care of you. The base implementation for 1 to 3 credit users, typically you're looking at about 2 to 3 days. We bill time and material, so as incurred, as needed. We do have some fairly sophisticated customers using the application, upwards of 100 users. Those can take a lot longer. There's a lot more that goes into it. Typically you're looking 10 plus users, plan for maybe a week, maybe a little bit more than that in the service side. Contact us for service estimates or contact Epicor or your partner, and we can get you some more information there. Again, services built through Epicor with E2B as a subcontractor. If you happen to be an Epicor Enterprise customer, you're probably aware there is a collection manager module that's available. If you move to Epicor 9 or Epicor 10, they have a promo in place where you get a like-for-like license up to 3 credit users, moving off the collection manager module into Epicor Cash Collect. So just want to make mention of that being available. Talk about some additional resources here. I'm giving you a lot of statistics on areas where you can improve and save, but you know what, don't take my word for it. Go to the epicor.com website /cloud cash collect. There's an ROI calculator out there. Pretty simple. You go in, you enter your AR balance, you tell us what your annual credit sales are. You put in a cost for cash, basically the cost of if you had to go to your financial institution and take out a loan, typically 6%. You enter the amount of bad debt write-offs you had, either as an amount or a percent. Enter how much you think you can reduce your DSO, typically 10, 20%. Put in the amount that you estimate you could reduce bad debt write-offs, again, 10, 20%. Enter the number of users that would be in the system. Typically, that's a minimum of 2, and then 1 additional user per $10 million in credit sales. But you'll know, how many users you might need. Oh. And then you click the calculate button. It's going to tell you, based on this information, what is your ROI percent going to be and what's your payback period going to be. Typically, most companies are getting an ROI in about 2 to 3 months. So really, really quick ROI there. Additional resources, this is a screenshot of a PDF that I've created. This has everything you're going to want to know about the software. When we get the list from Adrian and ERP VAR of all the attendees to the webinar, we will provide this to you. You'll be able to go in, get an overview of the product a little more in depth than we did today. You'll be able to drill in on certain aspects of the software if you want to watch a video on users and how to set up users and different types of user options, exactly how we handle email, how we manage phone calls, the online bill pay capabilities, disputes. We have videos on pretty much all of this. Okay. We also have some white papers that are linked on that resource guide. So if you just want to get some information on how you could maybe manage credit collections better without Epicor Cash Collect, how to develop a business credit policy, how to reduce invoice disputes. If you have questions around how many people should I have in my AR department for credit collections, we have a white paper on that. If you want to have some insights into how to develop collection letters or call scripts or email templates, we have a white paper that'll kind of walk you through that as well. And that's going to wrap us up for the day. I think we're pretty much on time here. I have my contact information up on the screen, and we'll kick it back over to Adrienne.
Thank you, Jim, for that presentation. We do have a couple questions here, and I'm just going to allow everybody to take note of Jim's contact information. I'd like to launch a poll while we're asking the questions, but you can reach Jim at 440-352-4700, extension 229, or email him at jmallory, JMALLORY, at etbtek.com. And Jim, we do have a question here. Will the system know if we receive a payment automatically, or will we have to update every invoice we receive payment on?
It's a good question. So the way that the synchronization process works for our customers is we're going to sync to your Epicor data, right? So in Epicor, I create invoices, I create whatever orders, I ship them, it generates invoices, and then I'm going to record the payments from the customers within Epicor, unless we're doing it via online bill pay. If they make a payment via online, there's ways that we can get that data into Epicor, but you want all of your financials there in the Epicor database. All we're doing is we're showing you what has been accounted for, okay, and then we're putting the process around that so you can be more efficient. The synchronization can run, again, every 15 minutes if you really wanted it to. We also have a sync on demand, so let's say that we send out invoices. We don't necessarily need to sync that, every 15 minutes, because I can wait till the next day to pick up new invoices. But I can do a sync on demand. Maybe I want to find out, did we get a check in the morning mail, and was it recorded in Epicor? So we can do that sync on demand and just pick up any of the payments that might have been received.
And Jim, I think you touched on this, but what versions of Epicor does this work with? If you could just refresh.
That's a good question as well. We have a couple different integrations. So our standard integration that's canned, pre-populated, kind of tried and true and tested, that works with Epicor 905 and above. So it also does work with the new version, Epicor 10. I know a lot of companies are really excited to be able to move on to it. It's a really nice product. We just got to see it for the first time last week at the Insight Show, and it's phenomenal. Now, if you're using something older, if you're on Vantage 8.0, if you're on Epicor Enterprise, we do have a CSV flat file interface that we can use to get data out of your accounting or ERP system and into Epicor Cash Collect. Okay, so it's a different methodology on how we get the data, but we've integrated to a lot of older Epicor systems using that methodology.
And Jim, we do have a continuance to the first question that we asked. So if we have received payment for an invoice, it disappears from CCM after money has been posted?
That's a good question. Yeah, and that's a parameter. So, I think I know where he's asking here. So if I have an issue, right, I have a customer that has an invoice that's past due, system tells me you need to make a phone call, send an email, or what have you, and then the payment comes in to Epicor, we resync the data, and all of a sudden they have a $0 balance or even a credit balance, right? Will that issue go away automatically? There is a parameter that you can set up that is an auto close feature. So if there's nothing that I need to do, I can have the system automatically close that issue and it disappears from my call list, or my activity list.
And thank you, Brooke. She has said, awesome. And David, thank you for your question. David says it seems slow in demo. In the real application, is the refresh and data access faster?
It is. The GoToMeeting slows me down considerably. It's a web app, and we're actually looking internally of moving to like Microsoft Link. When I run this thing without the GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar running, it is significantly faster.
And it does tax my system. Hence, that's why we had a little bit of technical difficulties early on. Both my computers were taxed heavily with GoToMeeting, and so I got one of them to jump in and work. So yes, GoToMeeting does take a lot of resources, it seems.
Yeah.
So we do not have any more questions. If you do have a question, I just want to remind the audience, go ahead and click on that question mark button and indicate your question via text, and we'll read it live. If you don't have any more questions, I just want to make note, we are recording this webinar, and we will send it out to everybody who registered and attended. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us today. Jim, did you have anything else that you'd like to leave us with?
No, the only thing that I want to mention is that we will be sending out this resource guide that we're looking at here on the screen. So if you want, this has like a summary video, a couple of them, that if you want to just get a kind of a better feel for the software, you can watch those. If you have some more questions around specific features, we have kind of very personalized demonstrations around those as well. But I would encourage everybody to take a look at them. There's no doubt you're gonna get a benefit. We talk to people all the time. They're like, we're at a 40 DSO on average, net 30 turns, not that big of a deal. The problem is you still are spending a lot more time and effort than you need to get paid. We can automate this. We can put rules around it. We can manage by exception, so you're only looking at the things that really require your attention. At the end of the day, you will get paid faster. At the end of the day, you will get more of your money back. At the end of the day, you're going to get an ROI. We have yet to have a customer that's used the software that said it wasn't beneficial to them. So that's really, I just want to leave people with is, take a look at them. And if you don't have an interest, we'll stop calling you, stop emailing you. But I really think that we have a great solution to improve your efficiencies and help you get paid a whole lot faster.
And just a note, Jim, everybody on the call today is interested in learning more. We have 100% answering the poll as yes. So thank you so much for your presentation. And thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And have a wonderful day.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.